Hey, Greg here with Straight Down the Middle, and today I'm bringing you guys something special. It is the Jurassic Park version of Monopoly! Now this game, there's a few different things about it. There was a few things that took me by surprise. One of them being is that the rule set is vastly different from your normal traditional classic Monopoly. I was honestly expecting your traditional Monopoly, obviously Jurassic Park themed, with the dinosaurs being in place of the properties, your tokens being characters and dinosaurs from the movie. It has its own little spin and twist on it. So we're going to go right into those sort of things because it was something that when I first heard this and I saw this, when I started reading the directions, I was kind of taken aback. I was like, man, I just wanted to buy, sell properties, play the traditional Monopoly. But after getting through it one time, the spin that they put on it is pretty cool. Some of those differences are your properties. They are dinosaurs, which, again, that's something you would expect from a Jurassic Park Monopoly. The thing is, though, is all of these, the bank doesn't keep these properties. They actually go around the board, and they go corresponding to the dinosaur that they're in front of or the property that they're in front of. You also have two different sets of die. One of them is your amber die, and one of them is a normal die. Now, this is something that really sets this Monopoly game apart from other Monopoly games. You have a T-Rex token. He's super awesome, very well detailed, very nice character. And when you roll both these die, when you roll the amber one, the T-Rex moves to the corresponding number on your amber die. Your token moves corresponding to both of the die. So the addition of both die is where your token move. And what happens also with this T-Rex, what he does is when this T-Rex comes by and he lands on this card or that spot on the board, then he destroys that land and you must flip it over and it must be paid to be repaired. So another little neat thing on there, and you can still buy that property even though that it has damage done to it. But when someone lands on it, you collect no rent until you pay to get that property repaired. Also what happens is when this T-Rex lands on one of your character's spots or where your character is sitting or passes one of your token characters, you pay the bank $50. So it's a nice little twist on the traditional Monopoly, and that paying $50 every time the T-Rex passes a character or lands on that spot, it speeds the game up a little bit, and it's one of those things that can happen kind of frequently, or you can go a lot of the game without it happening. It's actually balanced quite well. I was surprised by that because I thought, well, this is just going to be a joke and you're going to be broke in no time, or he's never going to land on it. But for whatever reason, it works out fairly well and fairly even. Now, something that goes along with that is another little spin for the Jurassic Park Monopoly is instead of houses in your hotels, you have fences. And these fences, when the T-Rex lands on the fence, it will destroy the fence before it damages your property. So it's just a little small line of protection. Also on your card, you'll see, just like with traditional Monopoly, that when you have a fence on there, you can collect more rent. So there is actually rent without a fence, rent with a fence. Now, something else that's a little different from this Monopoly versus other Monopoly is you have the Jurassic Park gates. And what these gates do is they play music. And what happens every time you pass go, instead of just collecting $200 like you normally would in Monopoly, you hit the sound button. When you hear a dinosaur roar, you collect only $100. You hear music, you collect $200. Something else that's sort of similar to your traditional Monopoly is you have two sets of cards. One of them being your cold storage cards, and another being your impact trimmer cards. And those have certain tasks, things that you would get for free, and certain directions that you would follow. You'd get out of free jail card, get out of jail free card, all those sort of things. And also, as I was talking about the fence, it plays into the fence. Like this card here in particular, it uses the fence too. And the music. Hear music, advance to any unowned property and get it for free. Hear a roar, move the T-Rex to any one of your properties. So that's another one of those instances that they use this gate with the music. So it's kind of gimmicky, but it's still kind of cool, and it puts a nice little twist on the game. Other than that, everything else sort of plays very traditional in a sense. Two chief complaints about this game that they're not deal breakers, but it does hinder the experience is the first one being your gates. I wish that they would have done some kind of molded plastic, something a little different than these flappy, just folded cardboard gates, because laying money down, rolling the dice across the board, any kind of little movement knocks these things over. They get shifted all over the place. And the houses and hotels weren't great with Monopoly anyways about staying put, but these gates are literally 10 times worse than that. My next complaint is your tokens, and this is probably the biggest, and playing with my family, it was their biggest chief complaint as well, is all of your tokens are very similar. You have Lex, you have Tim, you have Ian Malcolm, you have Hammond, you have Alan Grant, and Ellie Sattler, and all of the characters, minus probably Alan Grant. Alan Grant's very distinctive. Alan has the road flare in his hand, so you can actually tell him apart. But when you get into like Ellie and Lex and Tim, they, especially when you're playing on the board, are horribly similar. They all look almost identical, and especially Ellie and Lex, both of them being females, and they have both of the characters with their hands on their hips. So you don't know whose token is whose when you're playing the game. So I wish that they would have went a different route. I like the fact that they have the casted T-Rex that's coming around and chasing the humans and chasing the characters. So I don't know if I would have liked the other tokens to be other dinosaurs, especially since you're buying dinosaurs and they are essentially your properties that you're buying. But I kind of wish that maybe they would have thrown a Jeep in there, or the Explorer, or something. Hell, even a palm tree. I don't know, something to differentiate these characters so that you can tell whose character and whose token is whose throughout the game. Other than that, this game is fantastic. Again, it's kind of its own standalone Jurassic Park game. It is Monopoly, but it's quite a bit different, so it feels like a different game. And one big shout out, man, I don't know who did the artwork on this box, but the artwork is beyond phenomenal on this game. So shout out to whoever did that. Get out, buy this game. It's fun. It will keep you and your family bickering, fighting, and separated and tossing tables all night long, just like traditional Monopoly.